So as a laptop manufacturer, Gigabyte is an interesting brand. They don't make many sales. We actually call them Gigabyte Nobody Cares in China. But the interesting fact is, they do make some good laptops. And the Aero 15 is one of them. So I've had this laptop for almost 3 months, and I want to share the overall impression from my daily use. The first thing I want to talk about is the build quality. The build quality of Aero 15 is pretty good, which was actually a little bit surprising. The reason why I said that is before I bought this thing, I used to go through all those pictures and videos online, and those images just can't really show how well this laptop is built. I don't know why, it's almost like this thing looks more plasticky on a screen than in real life. But of course, there's still room to improve, like the minor flags on the logo side and the small gaps between different parts, but overall, it's good. The design could be my least favorite thing on this laptop, but don't get me wrong, the design is nowhere bad. I absolutely love this Cineline design. I just feel they could have made the design simpler and less outdated. I'm not a big fan of this envelope on the logo side. I personally prefer being an all-black cover, but it is characteristic. And I hope they could have done away with these unnecessary edges going around the chassis to make it just one simple surface. But still, Aero 15 is still one of the best looking gaming laptops there is. And I just can't stop appreciating how premium this bezel-less design looks. I mean, seriously, just look at how thin these bezels are. But the webcam though, unless you want to use it like this. Gigabyte probably has the best of all backlit keyboard apart from that Razer. It is individually lit, needless to say, and it has a ton of configurations to it. I personally love the fade-on key press effect. It's almost like you're leaving a trail of fingerprints, and the keyboard feels kind of alive. But be careful, this may give away your password if someone else is peeking. I've had a little double stroke glitch while I was using this keyboard. Sometimes when I press a key once, 2 letters will pop up. But then, a few days later, a keyboard driver update fixed the issue, so actually it's not an issue anymore, but I still think I should tell you guys. And the keyboard itself is pretty good. It's tactile, not very quiet though. It does take a little more strength to strike press, but once you're used to it, it's really not a big problem. And the number pad. I just love how they could pack a number pad inside this already compact form factor. To me it's very important, because I'm one of those guys who can never get used to typing numbers using the number keys on top of the keyboard. The trackpad is not very good, at least not in its original state. It's not very responsive and precise because of its stock ELAN driver. However, through a little trick I replaced the ELAN driver with Windows Precision driver, and it was a complete refresh. It improved so much that I absolutely love using it right now. I even prefer its trackpad over a mouse when I'm doing some light typing work because of all the gestures and that it's just closer to the keyboard. Okay, onto the beautiful display. This is a 15-inch 1080p 144Hz panel, and it's an excellent display. It's bright enough for a matte screen, and the color is calibrated out of factory. Personally, I'm not very sensitive to high refresh rate. I really can't tell it from a 60Hz panel even when I'm gaming. But for those who care, it's good to know it's there. There's really no fault to this display except for the noticeable light leak. It's not that serious, but it can get somewhat distracting when displaying black content like the black bars when you're watching a movie. The speakers, I'm just gonna say it, are not good. Lack of bass is the least of the problem here. The biggest thing is it's just not loud enough. Sometimes I even think this speaker setup isn't even as loud as the single speaker on my smartphone. By the way, the phone I'm using is Meizu Pro 7 Plus. It's probably got one of the loudest single speakers in the market, but it doesn't justify the crappy speakers on this laptop. It's usable in daily usage, but once you fire up a game or start rendering a video, the noise of the fans will just overwhelm the weak sound coming from the speakers. One of the biggest features of Aero 15 is that massive 94 watt-hour battery, and it really delivers. So I'm a student. I frequently need to carry my laptop to the classroom or library. This would be very painful if I had a bulky gaming laptop like my last one that would just die on me in 1 or 2 hours, but with Aero 15, I never have to worry about that. Apparently it's not gonna outlast those notebooks with ultra-low voltage processors, but it just beats out all the traditional gaming laptops when it comes to battery life. Okay, there's actually not much to say about performance, because there's actually nothing to worry about. It's got the popular i7-8750H 6-core CPU and NVIDIA GTX 1060 graphics card. For RAM, it's got a single-channel 16GB of DDR4 running at 2666 MHz and a 512GB of SSD for storage. And the huge plus here is that both RAM and storage are expandable, as there are 2 slots for each. The thermal management is okay but not excellent, which is actually normal on this kind of thin and light gaming laptops. Like I said just now, the fans get really loud when under heavy load. You really need some headphones if you want to game seriously or do some video editing, because it's literally like a jet engine. The temperature on the keyboard gets warm, but it's still acceptable. What is not is the area on top of the keyboard that gets burning. It's just impossible to touch this bar when the device is fully working. The port selection is where Aero 15 does significantly better than its competitors. It's got 3 USB 3.0 ports, 1 HDMI, a mini display port, a headphone jack, a Thunderbolt 3 port, an SD card slot, and an RJ45 Ethernet port. I mean, who uses an Ethernet port these days? So the connectivity on this laptop is excellent, especially the SD card slot and the Thunderbolt 3 port will come in so handy if you need them. So obviously this laptop isn't perfect, but the word I want to use to describe it is balanced. It's not best in anything, but it's top tier overall, which is why I chose it to be my daily driver. It's not going to give you any elegant feel like the XPS 15, Razer Blade, or even MacBook Pro, but it's got more RAM and storage expandability. It's got more ports, and it even has a number pad. To me, it's just a laptop that simply works. Okay, that was my 3-month impression on the Aero 15. I hope you like it, and I see you guys in the next video.